I can't believe this. Everybody come check this out. Oh, you all doubted me, but now I have proof. Proof that the Reptilians have infiltrated the highest levels of government. Proof that Oscar Espinosa hails from the Alpha Draconis system. Proof that no human could have created. Is this a USB port? Is this a USB port? What kind of alien ship has a USB port?
Sorry, Cesar. That thing is man-made.
But
Espinosa may not have been one of your lizardmen,
Reptilians.
but his UFO has killed hundreds of his own people. And now he's exposed. You've uncovered a real conspiracy, Cesar.
Hang on. Reptilians might as well use a USB port to make it compatible with human technology. Cesar's theories might still hold some water. Perhaps it's time for a closer look to find out once and for all, is Oscar Espinosa a lizard man? Let's take a look at Cesar's findings throughout the story of Just Cause 4, starting off at his first cutscene, where he is briefing Rico and Mira on the mysterious tornado in the Solis wastelands.
The tornado that hit Nueva was the capital 10 years ago. Mina Vendaval a few months later. My plane. All destroyed by tornadoes. Tornadoes controlled by the Reptilians.
Mierda, Cesar.
Or the Nordics, but I've definitely ruled out the Greys. No abductions.
Mira,
Cesar.
Okay, there's actually limited reasoning behind his findings. It looks like we're gonna have to do most of the legwork ourselves. That's fine. We've got one more scene though.
Very nice. Windproof. But we still need to insulate the interior with tin foil. See? In the back.
why would we need to insulate the storm chaser with tin foil?
Reptilians have been documented using weaponized gamma radiation.
This is interesting. If Espinosa were indeed a reptilian, using gamma radiation against his enemies, how would he go around doing that? Well, a lot of the plot revolves around taking out the 3 towers on the mountains surrounding Project Illapa. Apart from artillery, their purpose is unclear, but a loading screen tip tells us that they act as routers between the weather cores and the main tower. Why would you need a 400 meter tall building for that, rather than a simple antenna tower? It implies there's more secret technology hidden in these towers. Does that have anything to do with gamma radiation? Not necessarily, but there's also the matter of their destruction. Mira absolutely demolished them by sending a virus to the machinery in the tower, which overloads them and creates a massive chain of explosions. So what causes gamma radiation? Perhaps the most severe outburst of it comes from nuclear fission, a process that, if not carefully supervised, could have catastrophic results. If the towers were filled with nuclear reactors, this would not only explain the size of the towers, but also how overloading the machinery would cause such a big explosion. It would also make sense given how Illapa needs a lot of power to function, and, most importantly, the reactor serves as the ultimate cover for a reptilian to irradiate the lands below. Of course, this is just one theory, it's not convincing enough on its own, so let's take a look at Project Illapa itself. Why is Espinosa creating it? In a conversation with Gabriel Morales, commander of the Black Hand, he says this.
Project Illapa was the culmination of the Espinosa legacy. A priceless technology that could rebuild our family's fortune.
This doesn't make sense. Since this game relies on loading screen tips to do world building, I'm gonna refer to the line that says he owns about 60% of the businesses in Solis. He also fully owns the Black Hand, the world's largest private military group. In other words, Espinosa is filthy rich. There's got to be an ulterior motive. Power, perhaps? Well, not likely. Apart from testing and self-defense, he doesn't use his weather weapons against anyone. He even sells the schematics to a party that could prove to be a threat in the future, given the agency's tendency to remove dictators from small tropical island nations. What if the true purpose of Project Illapa was more personal? What if Espinosa developed technology to regulate temperatures? After all, if he is indeed a lizard man, he's cold-blooded. If he needs to be productive, he would benefit greatly from developing a sandstorm to raise the temperature. If he needs colder blood to save energy on a lazy day, he could use the blizzard to lower it. Besides, both of these are an excellent way to provide cover during his transformation from human to lizard. Then we have the tornado and lightning storm, both of which are excellent ways to stir up insects from the local shrubbery to serve as dinner. Sounds reasonable, right? But isn't Espinosa staying in his office for most of the time we see him? Shouldn't that be fitting for a lizard, rather than the outside world? Well, it actually is. If we take a look at his office, both the final room and the large entry hall, we see a room that's filled with tropical plants. Despite the cold temperatures of the alpine biome, this room is clearly kept hot to benefit Espinosa's productivity. This is what the large heat lamps on the ceilings are for. The office walls are also made out of large glass panels. All in all, Oscar Espinosa's office closely resembles a terrarium, indicating that it's clearly made for a reptile. The evidence is starting to stack up. Something else you can't help but notice is that Espinosa is mostly absent during the story events of Just Cause 4. You could say this is due to a bad plot structure, but I believe this is actually good writing. These games tend to take place during the year they are released, so it's fair to assume that this includes the time of year, in this case, December. Solis may be located on the equator, but the Espinosa dynasty is originally from Spain, which means that the dictator's body is acclimated to cope with the winter in this time of year. If he was indeed a lizard man, this would explain his absence in the majority of the storyline. He was simply hibernating. Now stay with me as I lay out the next argument. During the tornado storyline, the rebels take control of the wind nest. This is one of two necessary parts to create a tornado. The other one is the weather core that is still controlled by Espinosa.
We can't control the tornado core from here, but if you can plug this into the core's flight controller, then I can hijack it and remotely sever its link to the Illapa network.
If the core floats above the wind nest, a tornado will be created and will then follow the remotely controlled core. So the rebels have a plan: create a tornado and send it to the country's capital city for shits and giggles. Since they don't have the core, they rely on Espinosa being stupid enough to not only send the core to a base that he knows is controlled by the opposition, risking it to be shot out of the air, but also to steer it to the exact location the rebels want it to be. All of this would require Oscar Espinosa to be astronomically stupid. In turn, it also requires the rebels to be stupid too, by relying on this to happen. But that's a video for another day. And then it happens. Espinosa actually does exactly this. This means that his number of brain cells is even lower than the numbers of times that Sheldon was honest to Rico. Reptiles are well known for an incredibly low level of mental development, often solving puzzles by brute force and never learning from their mistakes. At the very least, their cognitive functions work wildly different from humans and other mammals, which makes it understandable that Espinosa had no idea how to handle this not at all complex situation. At this point you are probably convinced, but let me drop one last bomb. The most obvious clue of all: his name. It's not Espinosa. It is Espinosa. It's Spanish for the Spinosaur, which means something amongst the line of big lizard. Holy shit. You could probably reason that one or two of these arguments on their own are not enough, but altogether the evidence is irrefutable. Rico was wrong. Mira? She was wrong too. And Cesar? He was right. Oscar Espinosa is 100% a reptilian. Thank you for watching and for finally waking up. Jesus Christ, why did I make this?